Induction. We all know Paul is very dedicated to the sport. He's done a great job, very deserving. For those of you that aren't aware, Paul has been the sports coordinator at PAC for 25 years.
Wow!
Long time, long. Has organized at least 200 different events, from full-blown tournaments of 200 to 300, pro tour tournaments, and then of course the one-day shootouts and that kind of thing. Awesome job. Thanks, Paul.
Bar manager also, don't forget about that.
Well, I heard he drank most of the profits. So I don't think staff will hold that against him. So if that wasn't enough, Paul would be deserving for his credits outside of playing racquetball. He happened to have done a few things on the court. Some of them I didn't like. But he's always been personable. We've been friends for a long time. So he's had a very distinguished career, along with PAC and his years of volunteering for the WRA, being on board. Paul's been the president since 2009, and certainly he's tried to grow the sport. It's very difficult. It's a lot of same old people with a few new. Paul is an outstanding racquetball champion, as he displayed today. Great job, Paul. So, Paul started out at what was Brookfield Racquet Club. Awesome club, like 20 courts. It was Larry Court in Brookfield. They had, many of the Hall of Fame inductees. Jim Workus, Joe Workus, Jay Wallenberg, and then you go down the line with Scott Moore, and just everybody who was anybody played. It was awesome. Paul was a teaching pro at Brookfield for a few years, and then of course when he joined PAC in 1997, he's done a fantastic job. Some of what Paul can remember is at Badger State Games, Paul has 2 titles and 1 second place. In PAC tournaments, again, those are probably harder to remember, but he's got 18 titles and 12 second places. State tournaments in Wisconsin, Paul now has 10 titles and 15 second place finishes. That's including today.
Against his wife.
And that's not fair, is it? And then nationally, Paul has 1 title and 3 second place finishes. That's an awesome career.
Yeah, baby!
It's my pleasure to announce Paul is the 2022 Hall of Fame inductee. Yeah.
My phone is being utilized, so anyone? Bueller, yeah.
Ollie!
Great job, Paul. Yeah, because it'd be short here.
Okay.
Unless you want to go first.
Drinks are on Paul tonight.
Thanks, Jen.
Mr. Kimball.
Bring the lights all around.
I don't think I need the mic. Does anybody think I need the mic?
No.
All right. How about a muzzle? Paul! Everybody hear me okay? Paul! P is pretty. A is awesome. U is unique. A is lovable. That stands for Paul. He's been at the pack for 25 years, which is 9,125 days, 219,000 hours. You feel tired? 13,140,000 minutes. Great job, Mr. Krueger. Thank you very much for running racquetball and having a great time. Gamer, you're up.
We're definitely gonna argue that time.
No, Lee, who's the other fella?
What?
Who's the other fella that you played? Bob.
Dave.
David, get up here. No, David's like me. It's what carries. Mine's a lot louder, though.
No, he's not bad.
No, it is not. So, I am also here to help induct Paul into the Wisconsin Racquetball Hall of Fame. When I heard that Paul was going to be inducted, like all of you here tonight, I was excited, proud as a member of the pack, thinking it was quite well deserved. It also got me to thinking, what makes a Hall of Famer? What kind of qualities do they have? I came up with 3 key qualities: achievement, devotion to the game, and contributions to the game. So Mike already talked about achievement. You've definitely checked all the boxes: state titles, national title, club championship. Now you've been, what, 56 finals now, I think? I know I asked you recently what achievement stood out most to you, and you gave me 3 also to add to that list. 1986 in the men's A-state singles title, he was 19 years old, came back after a disputed call in the finals that cost him the first game. When he beat Kyle Veenstra the year that Kyle joined the IRT and he finished in the top 10. And when he teamed up with Brad Falvey at the Lewin doubles and beat the Herrera brothers, who were a pro team. Second quality, devotion to the game. When you watch Paul play racquetball, it's easy to see his passion for the game. Throughout his 43 years in this sport, he's played with the game with fire and intensity. He's even been known to yell at himself now and then when he's missed a setup or skipped an easy ball. Not that I would know anything about that. Third quality, contributions to the game. I think giving back to the game is one of the most important qualities in a Hall of Famer. And I think it is by far one of Paul's best qualities. He started working racquetball in 1986 at Brookfield Racquetball Club as a club professional. Came to Prairie Athletic Club in 1997, picking up the mantle left by the legendary Lou Bradley. Since then, he's been tirelessly working on growing the game despite many challenges, such as the dwindling number of players, the dwindling number of courts, even a pandemic. He's always working on the next league, the next club tournament, the next team racquetball season, the next open tournament. He's organized over 200 weekend and one-day tournaments, and in 2020, he brought only the second Tier 1 pro event in Wisconsin history to this very club. As Mike mentioned, he served as the president of the Wisconsin Racquetball Association since 2009. I've always been amazed just how many people Paul knows. It's not just here, it's at other tournaments across the state. Practically everybody knows Paul Krueger. It shows in the number of lives he has touched. How many of us here today, through Paul, started playing racquetball, got back into racquetball, stayed in racquetball, got other people to play racquetball, our partners, our relatives, our friends, our children? It's a big number. And I should know because I'm one of those people. After a 10-year hiatus, like many of us take, Paul talked me back into playing racquetball in the early 2000s. And then he got me hooked on team. So you can say that without Paul, Captain Dave would just be Dave. So most importantly, Paul has always been welcoming and inclusive while doing it. I mean, it's easy to be skittish when you're being encouraged by someone to go into a 40 by 20 room with 1 to 3 other people chasing a ball going more than 100 miles an hour, because that's our idea of fun. But with Paul, like, hey, grab a racket, grab some guards, let's have at it. The great poet Walt Whitman once wrote about life that the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse. Racquetball is itself a play, and a powerful one at that. It embodies athleticism, competition, sportsmanship, fellowship, and friendship. It's about family, it's about tradition. It's about keeping the dream of racquetball alive here in Sun Prairie that started when Bruce Thompson built these courts and opened the pack in 1976. So tonight we honor Paul for his contribution to that powerful play of racquetball that we know and love. He's written more than just a few verses, he's written an entire act. And best of all, he still has some verses left to write. So with that, move up Paul to the Racquetball Hall of Fame.
Great job, Captain Dave. Okay?
Skipper!
What lead?
You still drinking?
He doesn't need to drink for that.
That was awesome, Dave. Thank you.
Thanks, David.
So this is one of my favorite nights of the year. I'm continually honored and privileged to be asked on behalf of Hall of Famers out there to speak for them and induct yet another inductee and personal friend. I want to thank the Prairie Athletic Club, its staff, and management for its continual support and commitment to racquetball and the great tournaments they put on. I also want to congratulate all the state champions today and thank them for their entertaining matches. Good job. As I look in the crowd tonight, I see some Hall of Famers here with us, and I want to acknowledge their continual commitment to the game. Your influence and history will forever be recognized. Bruce Thompson. Mike Brada. Myself. And I don't think I'm missing anybody, but I do see some future ones out there. So be ready for that. And let's not forget why we're here tonight. We're here to celebrate and add our newest member to the club, and that's Paul Krueger, as we all know. Well, it's actually Paul Camp Randall Krueger. Middle name's Randall, in case you didn't know that. Tonight I want to share some stories and thank Paul for his lifelong commitment to the game we all love. I've known Paul for over 35 years, dating back to the West Dallas days. And over the time, we've sure stacked up a lot of good memories and a couple thousand drinks. But that's what I like most about this fraternity. It's the memorable times. Now, some of those times were more memorable for some than others. For instance, in 1992, I played Paul in a match in Green Bay, the old Saranac tournament. Paul beat me in that tourney. I don't remember it. And you may be asking yourself, what's the significance of this tournament 30 years ago? Well, the significance is, for the last 30 years, I hear about this epic performance every freaking time I see Paul. Let it go, bro. Let it go. But on a serious note, I know why he says it every chance he gets. It's because he respects me. He loves me, and he loves what this game does. It brings people together.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I feel very fortunate to have Paul in my life. We've shared some personal matters, views, loss, and even bounce opinions off each other, one another, but never politics. We don't talk about that.
Well done.
What I love most about Paul is his humility, how he makes others laugh, his generosity, and his ability to make you feel special and important. What great qualities. I've been lucky to share some very special moments on the court with Paul. In 2014, Paul was playing mixed open with Jesse Hack against Trish Beatty and myself. Trish and I were on a multi-year winning streak, playing very well as well they were. What happened next was purely an ass kicking. Both Jesse and Paul were battling and focused and hungry. During some particular rally, unbeknownst to us, Jessie broke her middle finger on her racket hand. She could barely even hold the racket. Paul was forced to take over, and someone took over his body. He looked more like Cliff Swain than the friend Paul that I knew. He played brilliantly, and Jessie was tough as she is today. They weren't going to be denied, and all we could do was watch. They earned every part of that title, and although I was disappointed, and even more for my partner, I was very happy for my friends. And to do it here, in front of their home group, is even sweeter. I was also fortunate to pair up with Paul in 2015 at Wayne. Paul and I had never played before, and due to a lost bet, I was forced to play with him. And he had to play forehand, so definitely we had some bugs to work out along the way. We managed to navigate the draw and find ourselves in the finals against a very seasoned team of Ryan Jacobs and Howie Gregg. We found ourselves down a game, struggling in game 2. They were hitting some jam serves at us, and neither of us were really handling them very well, so I called timeout. Walked out onto the court. I looked at Paul and said, we're going to play from the I formation. He looked at me like I was crazy. He said, what's that? I said, well, after a quick explanation, we stepped out on the court. I told him, oh, hey, by the way, you're playing the front. He looked very uncertain at me, but at the same time, determined. He rose to the occasion and turned our game around. We went on to win that tournament, and today we continue to share that great memory. iPads don't like me. Apologize. Thanks for that. 35 years. Still remind me of Green Bay. Still drinking screwdrivers, now maybe with a little splash of crayon. Whatever. Thankfully, still bringing us all together to play the game we all love. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your commitment. And thank you from all of us for your friendship. 2022. Thanks, Paul. California.
No. Okay.
Come on, Jess.
Thanks for nothing, Jay.
I'm gonna do it with the lights.
I'm gonna make this short and sweet because I'm horrible at speaking in front of large groups, but, I would say that not many people know how much work my husband puts into tournaments, more than I do. So suffice it to say that tournament weeks are pretty brutal at the Krueger household. Not much sleep occurs because there's a lot of anxiety and just wanting things to go perfect.
Sleepovers.
Yeah, sleepovers, yeah. He puts his heart and soul into what he does.
Hell yeah!
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. To the point that he does lose sleep over it. That he is here for you guys. he does this for you. He wants it to be enjoyable and perfect for you. And don't ever doubt that. I see it firsthand, and he's amazing at what he does. He also was amazing on the court, playing against Jimmy and I today. And as much as I wanted to win, I could not be prouder of my husband. So with no further ado, thank you all for being here, and a special thanks to his best friend John Knudsen and his beautiful girlfriend Heather for flying up from Arizona. And thank you for allowing me to say a few words.
I have a quick talk.
Short and sweet. I know some of you think I like this microphone. Well, I honestly don't. There are times you just have to say something. That little guy, Mr. Krueger, walked in here, was it, how many years ago? 25! His first night we sat at the bar, and we both might have popped a little too many. Remember that? I gave him a ride home. I thought I made a mistake hiring the boy. I had to clean the car up. However, how many tournaments in the last many years? I called him on Monday and he said, I'm sorry, it's not going good, and then by Wednesday, it's awesome. I'm going to toast him more because he's got a heart, soul, kindness. He's a kind guy. I love that about him. So, awesome. To you.
Well, just thanks everybody for coming. Totally appreciate it. As Jess mentioned, John making the trip from Arizona. Fabulous. So cool. Glad you could make it. Glad you had fun. And he did leave his credit card in the bar, so. So I also want to give thanks to my partners over the years. Back in the day, Billy Erzbo when I was 12 and 13, Craig Beatty for years, and Gregory. All the times I played with one person, one time, or maybe two times, or maybe three times, and my current partners today at least, Mike Burry and Jesse Hack. I love singles. I'm getting a little older. It's harder to play singles. I'm not as fast. I'm not as quick. Can't hit the ball as hard. But doubles is just fun because you get to play with somebody else and support them and hopefully mesh and do well together. So appreciate all the partners I've played with over the years. It's fun. It's fun to play doubles with people you like. Have to thank Bruce and the current ownership because I do think Bruce at the start may have been like, I'm not really sure what I'm getting into here. And I remember touring with Jenny and going through the tour, and we're about halfway through the tour and I don't know it's Jenny. And she's like, oh, you know Bruce? And I'm like, oh yeah. And she's like, oh, what do you think of Bruce? And I'm like, yeah, he's great. He's a great player. He kicked the crap out of me last time we played. So I'm glad I did like you and appreciated you and respected you because I might not be standing here now. Also want to thank my mom and dad for kind of different reasons. Mom has always supported me. She is not the sports juggernaut that my dad might be, but she's always supported me all the time. Totally appreciate that and respect that. Also want to thank my dad who got me into sports as a bat boy for his softball team when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, and playing basketball, baseball, you name it, doing everything. And also, he was a good open player, but I appreciate that he had the wherewithal to have me take lessons from other people. So I took lessons from the Workus brothers and Patty Schmidt, and I learned how to play the game the right way, and since I was about 9 or 10 years old, I don't think my swing has changed. I think it's pretty much the same thing. And so I appreciate Dad turning me onto this sport, because he'd bring me to the Highlander Club, if you guys remember that, and I'd be a court rat, and if people got through the game, I'd run on the court for 2 minutes and hit as long as I could, and then they'd kick me out. And I kind of miss that here. Love seeing kids who are court rats and just running in and out of the courts whenever they can play. And of course, I have to thank Jess, because it's a thankless job being a racquetball coordinator's spouse. It's not easy. Tournaments are really long weeks. There's a lot of work. She helps me with it. She does most of the stuff around the house, the cleaning, and especially if we have people over, because God knows I'm not real good about that. And puts up with me maybe being a little bit shorter than usual. I'm usually a pretty happy-go-lucky guy, but tournament weeks I'm like, I gotta get this done. I gotta get it done. And I appreciate you for letting me do that. And for helping.
He's saying all the right things.
Am I buttering her up enough after beating her? I moved from the couch to the spare room. So I am totally humbled and honored. I just look at all the people who are in the Hall of Fame. Mike, Jay, Bruce, just countless guys who I've looked up to for years. And for me to be in there, it's pretty cool. Unexpected, happy it happened. I never look at myself as like a great player or one of the best players in the state or anything like that. But I always felt like I could give anybody a run at any time. And I may not, if I played Jay 10 times, I might beat him once and then tell him about it for the next 30 years. but it did happen. And tonight, we put that in the grave. I'm super proud of just all the people I've introduced to racquetball over the years, that have taught racquetball, that I've encouraged to play racquetball, because I love this sport. And I think it's just underrated. And I honestly think we can bring it back, but it's gonna take work, because there's just a lot of other stuff out there.
Yeah, baby!
Thanks, Lisa. I'm also proud of the way I run tournaments. I try to be inclusive to every single person in the tournament. I don't care if you're from our club, if you're from Milwaukee, Iowa, Minnesota, Illinois, if you're an open player, if it's your first tournament, you're playing C. I try to include everybody and make everybody feel welcome and feel at home and want to come back. And I think that's kind of the key to tournaments, is there's just not enough people playing, and if somebody is playing, you want to make them feel important. And so I've tried to do that over the years. I will try to continue to do that, and hopefully we bring it back a little bit. So over the years, I just have a ton of great memories of racquetball. I mean, I could go through them over and over, but I'm not going to. But I think more about what racquetball has given to me. It's a competitive outlet. I'm a competitive person, and I love playing racquetball. I love playing singles because it's one-on-one. Absolutely love it. Don't have the skill set to be as good as I used to be, but I still love playing it. I love playing doubles. Again, you're competitive, and you are helping your partner, encouraging your partner, and hoping they help you. So I love that. I love everything that the sport has given to me. It's given me a great job that I appreciate and enjoy, and just a ton of great relationships that I've built over the years. So thank you to racquetball for that. So I started playing in the late 70s, 80s, and that was the heyday, and it was amazing. Every weekend, there was a tournament, 150, 200, 300 people, and it was just enormous. And I remember in '86 at State, there were 32 people in the Open, 64 in the A, 64 in the B, 64 in the C, and that was when racquetball was at its heyday, and it was amazing, and it was so fun. It was so fun to grow up doing that and being a part of that community. And in all honesty, I don't know if we're going to ever get that back again, but I do think we can stop it from kind of fading away. And I think we can rejuvenate it and bring it back. And so, kind of in closing tonight, everybody here loves it. Whether you're here because you're playing or you're here for the induction, I got a challenge for you. Do what you can to keep it alive. Introduce somebody to racquetball. If you're here at the club, say, hey, Paul will give you a free lesson. He'll get you going. You can go into the bar afterwards and meet some people. It's a social sport. It's a very competitive sport, as Captain likes to say. We just beat the crap out of each other for an hour, but then we go and have a drink and have a good time. So my challenge is introduce somebody to the game. Get them to start playing. If you don't have the time to help them, but you have the financial wherewithal, put your money into it. Put it into renting buses so high school kids can come to the PAC or come to West Allis or come to Supreme and learn the game of racquetball for gym class. Put your money into it so we can give free tournament entries to first-time players. Put your money into it so we can give free lessons to newbies. And whatever it is, whether it's money, time, or effort, if you love this sport, get back to it. All those things, man. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Mike.